What's going on, you guys? This is Trent here at Rexburg Motorsports, here to do another machine walk around with you. And I'll tell you, this one I didn't expect to do, I'll be honest with you. Skidoo just came out with just a couple weeks ago and had it to us within a very short time. Their very first, and the first for the industry, a two-stroke that is turboed from the factory. Full warranty, full everything, ready to go. So we're going to go over today Skidoo's new Summit 850 Turbo. Now, there's a lot of things about this machine that really stand out on the spec sheet, and a lot of things that, as a consumer, I would want to know a little bit more about. And so this is the intent of this video, is just to help give you guys a little bit more information on this brand new, exciting sled from Skidoo. So let's get into this machine and let's see what we think, huh? Now, the thing that makes this snowmobile so exciting is this little guy right here. This is Skidoo's first turboed two-stroke to the market, and it's actually the first turboed two-stroke period to the market. So very exciting that this is coming here for us big mountain riders. Now, I will tell you though, this turbo setup that they've got in this, it's very, very clever, but it's not what you're used to. Now, for all of you guys that turbo your snowmobiles currently, this isn't a high horsepower turbo setup. What this turbo setup is aimed to do is to keep you from losing power at high elevation. Every mountain rider that I've talked to, they all ride at 8,000 to 10,000 feet as a ballpark. Now, at 8,000 to 10,000 feet, you've got to consider that a naturally aspirated motor loses 3% of its power or thereabouts for every 1,000 feet of elevation. So at 8,000 feet, you're sitting at 125 horsepower or thereabouts. 125 from your 165 horsepower machine. Man, that's like barely a shadow of itself. At 10,000 feet, you're sitting at about 115. So you're losing a lot of power. Now, what Skidoo did with this is they set this turbo setup with two intake tracks. So you've got a short intake track for when turbo boost isn't being built. So that short intake track is going to make it so that when you are in a spot where you're getting turbo boost, you've got zero lag. You're always getting that power that this big 850 is making. Now, the big thing though with that is as you climb, this little turbo setup has an electronically controlled wastegate that opens up the wastegate depending on what elevation you are at and what load you're putting at the motor. So it ranges from 0 to 4 pounds of boost. Now, at sea level, Skidoo said that this new Turbo 850 is making 165 horsepower. So 165 horsepower is what the naturally aspirated one is getting as well. So at 0 feet of elevation, the turbo is not getting the exhaust gases. That dual intake track is just letting the air just go through the short one. Now, as you climb, though, this is where the numbers get exciting. Skidoo made a really cool graph that I'll have pop up on the screen here. But what you're going to see on this is at 0 feet of elevation, they're equal. This and the non-turboed version, right at 165 horsepower. But as you climb, and as the naturally aspirated motor is losing power because of its lack of ability to get air, this turbo wastegate starts opening up. So at 8,000 feet, when the naturally aspirated one is making about 125 horsepower, this thing is still making its full 165 horsepower. That's huge. That's 40 horsepower. So you think about that. That thing is going to make this little machine a game changer when it comes to ripping up the deep, deep powder and the steep and deep at that 8,000 feet of elevation. As you continue to climb past 8,000 feet, the naturally aspirated motor continues to lose it. So they showed at 10,000 feet, the naturally aspirated motor making 115 horsepower. This thing is at 155 at that point. So it's lost 10 horsepower with those last 2,000 feet of elevation, but man, it's still going to be ripping. You know, so this is going to be a very, very cool turbo setup on this machine. So now with all this cool stuff coming from this turboed motor, with being able to hold 165 horsepower, all the way up to 8,000 feet of elevation, what did Skidoo do with the rest of this machine? Now this is pretty cool stuff too. Not to be outdone with just their motor department, the chassis department also got to work as well. Now with this machine, you are getting Skidoo's expert chassis, suspension, spindles. So they threw their shorter tunnel on this 165 track to keep it from pushing out as you're side hilling. Now another thing that you get is you get Summit X's floorboards. So these floorboards are a lot better than the SP models in that they don't retain snow as easily. So this thing, it also helps lose a little bit of weight. So you lose a little bit of weight here, you'll lose a little bit of weight from the tunnel, but then they totally redesigned their hood. Their hood actually helped lose 6 pounds. So what they did was they really kind of tried to shrink wrap this thing around the motor and tried to make this chassis do exactly what this motor wants this machine to do. Everything that is on this machine is ready to hit the steep and deep. So this is super exciting with this machine. Skidoo really swung for the fences here with this machine. Coming out with such an awesome turbo setup to keep you from losing power at that high elevation is something that is going to give you guys that are wanting as much power as you can. Good power up in the steep and deep, but not a loss of reliability. Skidoo's still backing this with the same exact warranty options that they're giving naturally aspirated motors. So they've got a lot of confidence with this turbo setup. They did, however, bring this machine out in very limited quantities. So if you're looking for one, get ready to snow check one this coming spring because, man, Skidoo really swung for the fences, like I said, and this thing is going to be ready to rip. Very excited about this snowmobile and excited to get out on one. I cannot wait. We appreciate you watching these videos, and if you can, leave under in the comment section just what you kind of think about this machine. We're excited to hear the hype. We're excited to hear the questions. But if you do have any questions, come on into Rexburg Motorsports. We'd love to show you this thing and all the other cool stuff that we've got here in our big shop. But thanks so much again for watching these videos. And if you can, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We'd love to keep you up to date. Appreciate it. Have a good day.